Lightfall has been out for about a month now, and we've gone over what are some of the best builds in Lightfall so far. So now it's time to come back and put together the top 3 builds for each class. Today, we're going to be starting with my main class in the game, Hunter. With recent changes, buffs, nerfs, and introductions of new things in the game, Hunters have created an incredible place for themselves within the sandbox of Destiny 2. There are 3 builds that have emerged in Lightfall so far, and they take the Hunter class to the next level. Before we dive right in, a like and subscription means a ton to me and helps out a lot. Now let's get into it. Our first build we're going to look at is arguably my favorite build in the entire game, and this is the Gyrfalcon's Hauberk paired with the Void subclass. If you're unsure of how Gyrfalcon's works, what the exotic perk allows you to do is gain volatile rounds simply by coming out of invisibility. So this build is going to revolve around us utilizing the Void Hunter's arsenal to go invis as much as possible to continuously loop invisibility and volatile rounds. In the subclass, we're going with Deadfall Tether, Marksman Dodge for the reload, and Vortex Nades for the utility. Vanishing Step and Stylish Executioner will be our aspects, so we can go invis from our dodge, and then loop the invisibility from defeating targets that are volatile with the volatile rounds. Our fragments will be Echo of Remnants to increase our grenade duration, Echo of Persistence to increase the length of our void buffs, Echo of Cessation so we can create void breaches from defeating volatile targets, and then Echo of Starvation to get Devour when we pick up an orb or void breach. The entirety of the subclass build here will allow us to chain every void buff in the game, constantly going invis to gain volatile rounds, and then upon defeating those volatile targets, we will spawn void breaches to get us Devour as well, essentially chaining these infinitely. On top of that, void breaches when picked up will also give us class ability energy so we can have our dodge back all the time. For stat recommendations in this build, I would focus into high resilience and mobility as a priority, and then discipline to follow. When it comes to weapons, I have a few recommendations. Obviously, void weapons are a must here since volatile rounds only works with void weapons, but there are a few specific ones that allow this build to excel. The Wave Splitter Exotic Trace Rifle is an absolute beast paired with any void build, since its exotic perk allows it to become overcharged when you pick up an orb, which is done almost all the time now after the build crafting changes in Lightfall. You could also go with a Harsh Language Waveframe GL, especially with Repulsor Brace on it, as you can essentially have a permanent overshield with Repulsor Brace. In fact, any weapon with that perk would be a great call. You can even take this to another level and pair an Osmosis Kinetic weapon with this, since you turn your weapons into whatever subclass type you are running when you throw a grenade with an Osmosis weapon, giving you a third weapon to utilize volatile rounds. In the artifact, we have some mods that are pretty strong when it comes to build crafting with the Void subclass. I recommend picking up Authorized Mods Void and Grenades, then Volatile Flow and Shatter Orbs, as well as Bricks from Beyond, and then Void Weapon Channeling. For the armor mods in this build, here's what I have. Ashes to Asset, Dynamo, and a Harmonic Siphon on the helmet. Gauntlets are Bolstering Detonation, Firepower, and Impact Induction. The chest piece will have Charged Up, as well as any Resistance or Reserves mods you want. Then the boots will have 2 Void Surge mods and an Innervation. Lastly, the cloak will have 2 Bombers, as well as a Reaper. For the next build in my top 3 arsenal for Hunters in Lightfall, we have the brand new Strand subclass paired with the 6 Coyote exotic, which gives us a second dodge charge. This exotic was one of the few that immediately came to my mind when Strand was revealed to us, and man is this a fun one. This build utilizes the incredibly powerful suspend capabilities of the Strand subclass, which renders nearly any enemy in the game useless when suspended, champions included. In the subclass, the dodge will be the Marksman Dodge to get the reload from our dodge, and then we have the Shackle Grenade to suspend enemies hit by it, Widow Silk and its Snaring Slam for our aspects, Thread of Generation for grenade energy back for dealing damage, and Thread of Warding to get Woven Mail, which is a 60% damage resistance from picking up an orb, Thread of Continuity to increase the duration of Suspend, Unravel, and Sever, and then finally we have Thread of Transmutation, which creates a tangle after a weapon final blow when we have Woven Mail. With this build, we want to utilize our grenades and slams as much as possible while using our reload dodge to reload our weapons so we can get back into the action faster when needed and to proc Reaper and Dynamo. When it comes to weapons in this build, the main thing I would suggest is to have a Strand weapon in the kinetic slot so you can take advantage of the artifact mods and other things in this build. After that, just ensure you have ways to generate orbs. For the artifact, grab the following to take some aspects of the Strand subclass to the next level. Authorized Mods Grenades, Volatile Flow if you plan on using some void weapons, Shatter Orbs, Untangler, Allied Unraveling, and then Threaded Blast. For stat recommendations within the build, I would recommend going for high mobility, as well as high discipline, and then high resilience. Our armor mods will be the following: Dynamo and Siphon mods on the helmet, Bolstering Detonation, Impact Induction, and then a Grenade Kickstart on the gauntlets. On the chest piece, we have a Charged Up, as well as some sort of Resistance or Reserves mod. Our boots will have a Stacks on Stacks, Innervation, and Insulation. And then lastly, on our cloak here, we have Reaper, and then 2 Bombers. The final build to round out our top 3 Hunter builds in Lightfall is going to be none other than the young Ahamkara Spine Solar Hunter build. This is an absolutely incredible build that got even better when Lightfall launched, bringing along new fragments for the Solar subclass that take this build to another level of strong. Ahamkaras increase the trip mine duration and blast radius alongside giving you grenade energy from ability damage. Our subclass is going to start with Blade Barrage for the super, Gambler's Dodge to get our knife back when we dodge near enemies, Knife Trick, and then obviously trip mine grenades. On your mark and knock them down will be our aspects here, alongside Ember of Torches or Radiant, Ember of Ashes to apply more Scorch stacks, Ember of Singeing to get our dodge back faster when we scorch enemies, Ember of Searing to create fire sprites when we defeat a scorched target as well as gain melee energy, and then finally Ember of Resolve to get cured after a grenade final blow. For weapons in this build, your energy weapon having Incandescent on it will be a great option here, so things like Callus Mini Tool, the BXR, or even the brand new raid trace rifle Acacia's Dejection. Prometheus Lens is another good one if you don't have an exotic to use, as it also gets incandescent with the catalyst. Other than that, things like Wither Horde or a Chill Clip fusion rifle will be great here. In the artifact, these mods will best help you in the build. Authorized mods Solar and Grenades, and then Solar Surge and Shatter Orbs. Now for the armor mods in our build, here's what we've got. Double Ashes to Asset and a Solar Siphon on the helmet, and then Bolstering Detonation, Focusing Strike, and Firepower on the gauntlets, 2 Charged Up on the chest piece, a Stacks on Stacks and a Font of Agility, or you could run 2 Solar Weapon Surges on the boots, and then finally a Distribution, a Bomber, and a Time Dilation on the cloak. These 3 builds are absolutely integral to my kit when I play on Hunter, and I absolutely recommend you putting at least one of these into your arsenal. If you enjoyed the video, a like and subscription means a ton to me, and it greatly helps me out. If you want to check out some more of my content, be sure to head over to both my TikTok and Twitch stream. Both will be linked in the description below. I appreciate you all making it to the end of the video. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.